Mr. Ford, when we look at hospital assets from an operations perspective, what are the key drivers that quantum healthcare looks for?
Keeping our first of all, keeping our our aggressive buying and strategy in mind. The primary thing we look for is good, solid management, and that has a couple different avenues. It doesn't mean there might be some key opportunities for us to put in some management to actually have more expertise to actually drive the hospital up. Our ultimate goal is to find an operation that a hospital or healthcare operation that we personally as a company increase revenues, make it more attractive to the market, to our I call them patients, but our consumers that we're going to be providing services to in that thing. So,
right.
But basically, we need a good organizational structure, and we can build on that one.
Right.
And can the hospital run without the owners being there on a day-to-day when we put those people in there? And I do the same thing. I have a couple businesses, and right now I've acquired one.
Right.
And the same thing is we're building that team. So because I can't be there all the time because it's 400 miles away from my present location. You got to learn how to put the right people into place to be able to drive the operations to our goals.
Yeah.
And second thing, we look for the quality consultants associated with the hospital, and that means doctors drive the market. So which ones are coming in there, which ones are performing, which ones want increased opportunities to possibly it really comes down to a win-win situation. What can we do for them to actually increase their margins for themselves also from there? And then, another thing we look for, the third thing is revenue breakout. We don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. So if a hospital comes to us and says, this is the only thing we do. Now, I can't say that we wouldn't look at it in a way, but we'd look at it as what else could we bring to help that would enhance that specialty and allow us to do many other things. I've just seen too many times in the acquisition world, one area, if something blows up, it's not going to work well. So we gotta look at what specialties and what areas that we can put together and drive it to the next level.
Right.
And and then for a lot of things, another is where's the majority of the revenue coming from? And is it coming from the owners themselves, or has he put together enough other consultants and specialties to come in there to help enhance that? Like I say, if it's all from the owner and he wants to sell his whole shares from there, what are we going to do when he steps away away? So, we got to have that good mixture when it comes to it. And finally, we also look at, the revenue split in terms of, government insurance, commercial insurance or private insurance, and cash, and what time it is to recover the patients. If we can't get paid for 2 years, it's not going to work. I mean, on a normal, ultimate is to get paid by 40 days. And some government insurances, take a little bit longer time. So you got to have that good mixture of those different areas because, cash flow is king. And if you don't have cash flow in, it's going to hurt you down in the long run.
Mr. Ford, I think these are really concise pointers. And one of the pointers that I really took away from what you just mentioned was how the owners need to really optimize their business, and the business just doesn't need to be about them. It needs to be about the business itself, and they need to actively dissociate from the business so that it can run without them. I think that's a brilliant pointer that you just made. And in our dealings with a lot of hospitals as well as investment bankers, we come across with a lot of metrics like average length of stay, average revenue per bed, occupancy rates. So from your perspective, how important and relevant are these metrics from an acquisition standpoint?
I look at them, we look at them as an overall, but they're not the main points that we're going to say yes or no. You got to dig into them. A high occupancy rate doesn't mean that the hospital is making money or has a profit margin. It all depends on the mixture of patients they have. That a lot of those other areas that you got to maintain to. And sometimes, bankers, they have this little focus and they just only want to look at a couple things. And a lot of times some of them don't have all the expertise as what we do to really actually know if it's a good opportunity or not.
Yeah, that's true, Mr. Ford. I think you just mentioned some really key pointers. And I think at the end of the day, one of the most important things to look for in the business is the historical trends with respect to cash flow in terms of other metrics as well. Not just these few that we end up seeing time and again in the market. When you just mentioned in the opening statement a little bit about government and private insurances, I just wanted to sort of have you talk a little bit more about what sort of you had mentioned that 40 days is the right sort of length for recovering insurance payments. What is a healthy, let's say, mix in terms of revenue coming in from government, private, and let's say cash?
All my experience, running hospitals, acquiring them across the United States and actually the world, you want to look at a healthy mix, which means it's split between cash, government, private insurance, and then whatever other payers they are for the area it pertains to. Because if you have a high level of one over the other, and normally that's going to be in your government areas and the ones that normally have a higher discount to charges, depending on the area. It's a lot harder to manage your cost, especially on your procedures. So when you have a healthy mix, basically it'd be nice to see, very close to about the same amount for all those different levels. And that means you're going to be able to match them, because normally sometimes private insurance, you're going to get a little higher reimbursement rate, not as much discount as compared to the government. When you have a good mix like that, that means you're going to be able to manage the lower procedure where you get a little bit lower and you get a little bit higher. It's going to be a good mix. And, like I said, and it depends on the area where we're looking at. Sometimes governments are going to pay less. It depends on how you get the claims in, clean claims. Private insurances are starting to work the same way as government in a way. If you don't have a clean claim, they kick it back. So our ultimate goal is having a exceptional back office that knows how to be able to bill appropriately and get the clean claims in there, so we get our money in a very timely fashion. I mean, I put my goals on my people in my hospitals at 38 days. When that's achieving, like I said, in some areas it was a little bit higher, but that was their goal, was to achieve that type of turnaround.